Hey guys, we've got a wonderful video here from GameBermuda. Please make sure you give them a sub. These lists are very hard to make. It's the top 150 NES games of all time, at least from GameBermuda anyway. These lists are always fun to react to because you get to see genuine reactions of like surprise or dread depending where something is placed. But you also get our childhood experiences as well. So let's have some fun with this one. Let's see what we got. 150 games. This should be a really fun list. This is a big one, very ambitious. Bomberman. There's like, what, 712 odd games in North America, around about that. Bomberman making the 150. I guess I can live with that. I never got into the whole Bomberman shtick, to be honest. I know a lot of people like Bomberman. And we got Willow. So, a lot of people considered Willow, I guess, to be an alternative to Legend of Zelda on the NES. You know, one of those overworld adventure games with light RPG elements. I've only tried it a little bit here and there. I personally found it a lot harder than Zelda, but at the same time, I didn't grow up with it, so I probably didn't learn its mechanics. It's a very good game. I remember Pat, the NES punk, gave this a pretty high score in his book, I think. Yeah, it certainly should be in the top 150, I guess. I'm happy as long as they're good games and not shovelware, at least at this side of the list anyway. 148 Frontline, Run and Gun by Taito. But Taito games are usually known for their graphics in the mid-80s, and this kind of looks very basic-bish. I mean, it's probably a lot of fun, I don't know. I don't even know the game. And then we got NES Ice Hockey. I mean, it was either this or Blades of Steel. It's a good game of hockey. I can't really mad being this somewhere in the 150. I mean, it's alright. Well, we got Lunar Pool. You know what? I think Lunar Pool is a good game of pool, but I just stink at pool games, at least until the modern ones with the better controls, like mini-clip pool and everything that you can play now. But I remember renting this with my friends and barely passing 1 or 2 levels. It's a lot different to what pool games and actual pool is like today. With that being said, if you can figure out its mechanics, there's a lot of different tabletops in this and a lot of different challenge to be had. Lunar Pool is a good game. I'm not even mad that this is in the top 150, even if I think this is not for me. Pool games have certainly come a long way. What do we got now? So volleyball. So we got a lot of the black box. You know, I never really played volleyball. I've probably tried it, and if I have, I don't remember. Volleyball's really big in Southeast Asia, where my girlfriend comes from. This volleyball's really popular, actually. Now we got Xerion. Oh, right! You know, Jellicoe usually made either really good or really bad games. This kind of looks a little bit like Phoenix or Demon Attack on the Atari 2600 with like a semi-3D view, almost sort of like a gyrus type view. I like the look of this, to be honest. This is something I definitely would give a try. Do I think it deserves to be in the 150? You be the judge. Oh, this game I think got released as Cloud Master on Sega Master System. This is a good game. Side-scrolling, kind of like Monkey King shooter. By the way, I guess they're including Super Famicom games. You know, even if they're only in Japan, I guess it still counts. You can get a hold of these and play these on any emulator these days anyway. I forgot that actually got an NES release. Nuts and Milk, yeah, D's nuts. We got more Famicom games here. Kind of almost looks like a single screen Donkey Kong type experience. I don't know if I would have put it there. Super Arabian. There is a lot of Famicom games on this list. Alright. I mean, it looks okay. I'm starting to think some of these entries are a little bit questionable now. You know, there's a lot of great and classic games on NES, so at first when I saw this coming in at around the 140 mark, I was like, really, that low? But then I think about all the classics that are on NES, and I can't even really be mad at that. I mean, it still made the top 150, which is like the top quarter plus, top 20% of NES games. Pro Wrestling's a good time. A little broken in parts, but I mean, you use Starman and a turbo controller, you're probably going to go very well. Good memories here, better than most wrestling games on NES. And now we got Joy Mech Fight. This kind of reminds me of Balls on Sega Genesis, and that game wasn't any good. To be honest, this looks more fun than Balls on Genesis, and looks better, actually. Felix the Cat. Now, this one I think is a bit harsh to be all the way down in the 130s. Felix the Cat is one of the better NES games that I guess I shouldn't say no one ever played. Like, some people have played this, but you know, when you got games like Mario, Mega Man, and other platforms, DuckTales, this kind of gets lost in the shuffle. This is an absolutely phenomenal platforming game with challenging levels and bosses, but it's easy to pick up and play, hard to master. I mean, this has just got re-released on a collection. It wouldn't have been re-released on a collection if people thought it sucked, right? Sometimes it happens. Bubsy just got re-released too. But Felix the Cat is phenomenal. I think this deserved to be in the top 100, honestly. Well into the top 100. But at least it made the list. This game is absolutely fantastic. We now got The Legend of Cage. I can live with this. I mean, I find it funny that this is above Felix the Cat. But I know a lot of people like Legend of Cage. I do get this requested of me. The only reason I don't play it more often is because I suck. But an early ninja platformer, arcade port. Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu. I love Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu. It's only got 5 levels, but they're 5 levels of fun, interesting bosses, great challenge. You really do feel like you're on a journey with this game. Young Jackie Chan. Drunken Fistmaster Jackie Chan. It's a good time. I don't really have anything else to add. It's a really, really good game. I would have thought this one would be higher, but nevertheless, it's on the list. If you want an action platformer to play, man, I mean, this should definitely be in the pile of list of games to play. F1 race. I had the Game Boy port of this, where when I got my Game Boy Pocket, I got this. Now, I think the NES version only came out on Famicom, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll have to try that version. City Connection. So this is one of those weird platformers where you're like using a car, right? I could never get into this myself. Let me know your memories of City Connection. Probably not for me. And now we got B-Wing. So we got another shooter here. You know, there are a lot of shooters on NES that didn't look like much but ended up being major fun. I'm not going to go through specifics. You all know what they are. But this seems to be one of them. And I can't remember if this was the one my friend Damo played, actually. But it's a fun-looking game. I'm okay with shooters not looking that fantastic as long as they have epic gameplay. This one looks like it'd be pretty fun to play. Now, we got the three-eyed one. Oh, 3 eyes, eh? Okay, we're not going to get dirty here today. This looks interesting. I haven't seen this. Straight away, the big sprite standing out to me, he kind of looks a little bit like the Avatar. Oh, Clue Land. This is one of those fun games to play when you don't know what to play. This was a gift from a family member growing up. Here's to you, Aunt Louise. And, yeah, you know, one of the Black Box game series, single-screen platform. It mixes elements of action and, like, Pac-Man. But what's interesting is instead of collecting pellets, you have to uncover pieces of the puzzle that start off making shapes of things, but then get a little bit more abstract, I think the word is. 5 levels, and they loop and get harder and harder. Clue Man is great. I mean, it's not a game that sets a world on fire. I think it deserves a spot this low down. It's a good game. Now we got Road Fighter. Kind of like a Spy Hunter-y type game. These were pretty relevant at the time that this came out. There were similar games on Commodore 64 as well. I think like Pit Stop and stuff. Action Fighter on Master System. I like that style. Not very good at that style. Now we got Devil World. Right. This one I don't know. That kind of looks like the devil, one of the monsters from Ghosts and Goblins, actually. Looks like a Pac-Man-y style game. Now we got Twinbee. Okay, yeah, Twinbee. I keep forgetting about the NES version of this. I think if you want to play Twinbee, it's actually available on the Switch Online Pass, actually. Got a bit of a cult following. Tennis. You know, I really like Tennis on NES for the nostalgia. And you know, when I first had NES, and before I even owned the NES, I was playing NES with my auntie and her boyfriend, and they would stock up on a lot of these black box games because they were cheaper, obviously. You know, the earlier versions, you know, Excite Bike, Baseball, Tennis. Lots of cool memories playing tennis on NES. I don't think it deserves to stand the test of time in the top 150 list. But you know what, with that being said, there's 5 difficulties here. And, you know, a game of tennis for everybody. Again, it looks slow pace here, but there is a faster difficulty if you need it to come onto the bat more. Pinball. I think I borrowed this game off my friend Ryan when I was about 9 years old. We traded games. It's a serviceable game of pinball. Not much else to say. Nice little bonus area in the game as well. And then baseball. Yeah, we're digging hard into the black box games now. I remember playing this game with my friend David, who was... my grandmother lived next to his grandmother. He would stay on the holidays. I have lots of good memories playing this with my friend David. Playing the computer wasn't as much fun, but playing with your friend, it's a cool game of baseball. There's so many great baseball picks on NES, but... An Arkanoid. You know, I acknowledge that Arkanoid's a wonderful, like, you sort of like bust out, break the blocks type of game. Not one that I don't have great hand-eye coordination, so I can't really get the most out of this genre. But that's probably a fair placement. Oh, Fire and Ice. Oh, geez, I almost completely forgot about this. Sort of like a little action platformer. Kind of get Solomon's Key vibes a little bit. Formation Z. Yeah, I don't know this one either. Well, okay, we're going into the Famicom. And what's the game that I'm thinking of? Atomic Runner, Zelda, whatever. I kind of get those vibes. It's a little bit different. We got golf here. Oh, this is one of the earliest NES games I played. This would have been in the first handful of 4 or 5 NES games I played. Hasn't really aged well, because there wasn't a moment in time at one point where I wasn't playing this every day and trying to beat my high scores. I don't think it's aged well as far as golf games go, especially with the level of realism we get now, or even the fun cartoony ones now, like Everybody's Golf. But yeah, this was a big time killer for me. It's just so slow and sluggish by today's standards. But for nostalgia, I'll probably put it in the top 150. Toki, oh, this is where you, like, play the monkey that spits on people. They actually, you know, I bought the remastered version of this on Switch for a couple dollars. Never ever played it. I should really try it sometime. A hard but fun platformer, that one is. Now we've got Mappy Land. You know, there's a lot of people that really like Mappy Land. It's an arcade game as well. I don't like platforming games where you don't have a jump button. I'm pretty sure you don't have a jump button in this one. I'm not very familiar on Mappy, but I'm pretty sure you don't have a jump button on this one, which is why I never really played it to begin with. I'm going to guess. If I'm wrong about that, I apologize. But there's just something that's a little bit off-putting about Mappy Land for me. I always saw this in the Archie comics growing up, and even then I wasn't interested in it. Nintendo World Cup. Yeah, so this is like River City Ransom meets, it's a game of soccer. It's like NBA Jam of soccer games. I say that very complimentary. It's a fun time killer. It's a good game. Now we got Tiny Toons Adventures. You know what? I actually think this is a fair entry, because while this is a really good platformer, look at it. It's stunning. It's got nice looking graphics. Got Mario style gameplay. You're collecting carrots instead of stars. My problem with this game is it's hella difficult, man. Like, if you're buying this game for little Billy, little Jemima and their 9th birthday, they're going to struggle to pass a few levels. I'm not a great gamer, but I know enough that if I'm really sucking at this, it must be pretty hard. I mean, you be the judge. But, you know, I'm going to put this down the list just based on its difficulty. I think this is a fair spot. I think this could have been a little bit more than what it was. But if you like Tiny Toons, it's worth the play. Now we got Smash TV. I think this is probably a good entry for Smash TV. What's really interesting is because in this game, you kind of need 4 buttons, right? To shoot up, down, left, right. And so obviously you only had 2 buttons on an NES controller. So what was really neat is you could actually play a 1-player game of this with 2 controllers and have one as a joystick and one as a shooter, if that makes sense. Really, really neat if I'm not remembering that incorrectly. Obviously, they got it right by the time the Super Nintendo version came out. Extra buttons. Star Soldier. I think this is part of the online pass on the Nintendo Switch as well, too. Just another example of a shooter that might not, like, stand out graphically, but looks incredibly fun to play. Love the firepower on that. Now we got Hammering Harry. I didn't realize that this came out on NES, because I think this had an arcade port. I might have to try this on NES. I'm going to definitely try it out, because it was like an action platformer on the arcades. And I could only get so far, because I found it really, really, really difficult. But now knowing that this actually had an NES port, which I had no freaking idea, I'm definitely going to look into this. Sunfish Army, please make sure I don't forget. I really want to try this. That's another great thing about these lists. You're discovering games as well. New Ghostbusters 2. I only know the other Ghostbusters 2, which is more of an action platformer. Didn't really like it myself. Other people do. Followed the movie pretty well. That one I don't know too much about, unfortunately. We got a Japanese soccer game here, a J-League winning goal. You know, one thing I'm noticing straight away is the realistic looking sprites. And obviously it's 8-bit, so it can only be so realistic. But I guess that would add to the immersion of this game. I really like the look of it, to be honest. The football players in this look great. At least I think they do anyway. There you go, you got a little cinematic cutscene there too, that's kind of cool. Oh, Bucky O'Hare. So this is like an action platformer shooter based on the comic, different to the arcade version, which was kind of like a shooter, sort of like beat 'em up style looking game. This was more of an action platformer. Very good, but very tough. If you're into challenging games, that's a must play. Dragon Spirit, I remember this was an arcade shooter where you play a dragon as well. Might have to try this sometimes. This is not a game that I've really experienced, but it's certainly one that I'm interested in. 1943, The Battle of Midway. You know, I don't think the NES port of this gets enough love. Like, I know the arcade version looks better. The NES version plays exceptionally crisp. If you're after a faithful port of an arcade classic and one with a moderate amount of challenge, this is it, baby. This is a really good game. I used to play this a lot. And not saying I was ever very good at it. Oh, what do we got at 108? Baseball Stars. Okay, so we're digging into the bigger baseball games now. I'm not sure how many of these baseball games actually came out in Aussie, to be honest. Oh, Zombie Nation. I actually played this on our request show the other day, I think for Mandy. Big shout out to you, Mandy. For some reason, you play like a decapitated zombie head and you have to blow up buildings with fireballs, rampage style, kill people and bosses and things like that. Yeah, good game. Very tough once you get in the middle of it. But we got Guardian Legend here now. I'm surprised this is so low. This has a cult classic. It's a very ambitious game. You got a hybrid of elements, like you've got shooter levels, you got overworld adventure levels, things like that. It's just a full package when it comes to games. Obviously, maybe because of the difficulty, it's this down low because people have to learn it and figure out what it is to do. Kind of like Blaster Master, figuring out where to go in a sense and trying to how to hit switches and all that kind of stuff. But the game is absolutely fantastic. It has a massive cult following on NES. A little bit harsher as this low down. Again, there are so many games on NES though, aren't there, guys? Look at these nice big sprites. It's absolutely beautiful. Alright, we got 105. Guerrilla War. Oh, that's pretty low down. I mean, SNK was like, okay, we kind of screwed up with Akari Warriors. We actually need to make a military game that's fun. We got Guerrilla War. Akari Warriors ran to that good war. Gradius 2. Yeah, I've not played this on NES. Yeah, okay. Oh, this is like Life Force, isn't it? Gradius 2 is like Life Force. Is that the same game? It looks like Life Force. And Batman Returns. You know, a lot of people know this game from the Super Nintendo. But the NES actually had I guess you could say, a pretty decent platforming port of... not platforming port, beat-em-up port of this game as well. It's very serviceable. I did like the beat-em-up elements during the levels, but the unfair boss fights in this did ruin it for me. So I probably wouldn't have put this on my top 150 list. But it's functional. It's functional, sure. Gunsmoke. So I remember I did a really old top 150 list of myself from about 8 years ago, and I actually just had this scraping into my top 50, so I do think this is a little bit low. But a wonderful Western, great bosses, great challenge. I still love playing it to this day. Now we got Kickle Cubicle. Played this a couple times, not too often. It has been requested on the show. It's a charming little puzzle game here, action puzzle game. Yoshi's Cookie, honestly, this is like one of these Connect 3 type games that I never learned how to play, unfortunately. Looks like it's more than Connect 3. See, I don't even know the mechanics of this. I can't even play Dr. Mario. I've got no hope with Yoshi's Cookie. Track and Field. Yeah, this is probably a fair entry. I love the original Track and Field. Probably hasn't aged as much as I remember. But all the events are really fun to play. Rub one button, then use the other button to hit the angle in order to do a jump or a throw or something. And it's a great Track and Field game. We've got Pooyan here. Pooyan. Alright. Alright, yeah, let's pop the bubble, Joe. Pop, pop, pop. Now we got Earthbound Beginnings. Was it? I don't remember this. Are some of these games like fan-made games or just releases that I don't know about? Obviously, everyone knows the Super Nintendo Earthbound RPG. Now we got Gyrus. I mean, I'm not mad that it's this high up. I do think it's harsh just based on there were some really good games that are under this. But this is unique. I think I prefer the arcade version because visually I think the NES is a little bit confusing in trying to handle like 1.5D or 2, the sort of like 3D elements in this, if that makes sense. But you know, you go around in a 360 motion and traveling planets, shooting enemies and stuff. It's unique, it's fun, takes a little bit of getting used to. Rad Racer, this was my first ever NES game, waiting for me on my birthday. All set up from my dad when I woke up on my birthday, 1989. And I still love Rad Racer to this day. It's a beat the clock game done right. The random cars getting in the way is a little bit annoying. Crystallis being this slowed down. I'm probably going to say maybe it's a fair entry just based on its obscurity, but when it comes down to top-down adventure games and light RPG elements, I mean, I would consider this to be a must-play if you're into the Legend of Zelda style game. Certainly no Legend of Zelda, but fantastic. And now we got Commando. I guess this is a fair entry. The only thing I didn't like about the NES port of Commando is the sprite flicker is a mother bish. But it's a fun looping military shooter, which I have great pleasure in playing still to this day. We got Macross now. This kind of reminds me of like Transbot on Master System. It does remind me of Transbot. A cool looking shooter. Don't know if it should be that high up. And I mean, Gunnak is a perfect example of what I was talking about before. Although this looks better than I remember, actually. This does have pretty nice graphics. It is the NES after all. When it comes to the standard of shooters on NES, Gunnak's up there. Now we got Bomberman 2. So I think at 150, if I remember, we had Bomberman. Now we got Bomberman 2. This certainly looks like an upgrade graphics-wise. Just never really got into Bomberman. But if you have to puzzle action games, that's one for you. Captain Skyhawk. This game's kind of my nemesis because I never played it before and I made it to a Nintendo semi-final when I was very, very young. This was the game. And when you beat a boss at the end, you get all these bonus points. I was so close to beating it. And I ran out of time. We had a 5-minute time limit to get the high score. And I find this game very difficult to play today. My friend Joshy, hello Joshy, enjoys it. He's got a long play on this channel if you'd like to have a look at it. It's a good game. Again, one of those 2.5D games that's tricky to master, but once you do, it's a very rewarding. It's fun to play. Cool game. Now we got Metal Storm. Another action platformy kind of game. This is usually receives high praise from NES reviews. Never took the time how to learn to play this one though. And Codename Viper. So you kind of got, I guess you could say, what's that game that I'm thinking of? Like Shinobi elements in this, Rolling Thunder elements in this. But you're also a secret agent, very similar. Fun but hard. Captain America and the Avengers. This game is really cool. I'm glad it made the 150. It's a Marvel platforming game, unlike the arcade version, which was a beat 'em up. You can change between a couple characters. I think you can only use all of them in 2-player mode, if I'm not mistaken. I think you get to use as single-player Captain America and Hawkeye, but if you play the two-player mode, it's actually a fighting game with your friends, kind of like Smash Brothers style. Really cool game. Gets difficult at times, but this was a big rental for me when I was about 12. Love the music too, big sprites. It's a respectable Marvel game, man. And now Russian Attack. This is a good placing. This is also known as Green Beret in some regions. Very classic game. I first played this on Commodore 64. Not a long game, but it has that Konami difficulty. Has you coming back for just one more game. It's good. Now we got Mickey Mouse Capade here. Yeah. I mean, it's very difficult. But I like the hybrid elements. You've kind of got like action puzzler elements, side-scrolling sort of action elements too. But it's tough. It was a little bit hard for me to enjoy, but I appreciate the game. Now we got Balloon Fight, single screen game like Joust. I prefer Balloon Fight to Joust. Not much needs to be said. Great single screen action game. Donkey Kong Jr. Yeah, I guess it. I mean, look, it's a fun puzzle action platformer, but nothing that's like, oh my god, I need to play it. Although it was good for its day. Now we got Ghosts and Goblins. Look, people either love or hate this game. I think it deserves to be on the list because it is fantastic if you can master its difficulty. Wonderful bosses, weapons. Get the knife. You have to get the knife in Ghosts and Goblins. I keep forgetting about Strider on NES because it's a bit more of a Metroidvania kind of game compared to the arcade and Genesis one, isn't it? It's very good. It's fun to play if you can figure out where to go. And now we got Kung Fu. See, I probably would have put this in my top 50 list because this is like the standard when it comes to black box games outside of Super Mario Brothers and Excite Bike. A fun game, kind of follows Game of Death. 5 floors, different bosses, have to save your girlfriend. Now we got Galaxian. See, I didn't even realize that Galaxian was on NES. But I used to play Gallagher all the time. See, I would have put Gallagher on this list. The NES port of Gallagher is absolute fire. Faxanadu. Yeah, probably an appropriate spot. You know, this is kind of like a 2D RPG, kind of like Zelda 2. You play the elves. You have to save the Elven Kingdom from the evil, dirty dwarves. And, yeah, there's wonderful bosses. I will be critical of its difficult gameplay. Unfair, I guess you could say, checkpoint system at times. And ridiculous knockback. Oh, my gosh. You thought the knockback in Ninja Gaiden and Castlevania was bad? Oh, bro, play Faxanadu for another level of frustration. It's pretty nuts. But you get past all that, you've got a wonderful RPG experience. And now Excite Bike. See, I probably would have put this in my top 50 as well. I know this is just a black box game, but there's lots of levels here, multiple challenge. It's always fun to come back and try to beat your best times. Makes it replayable. I love Excite Bike. Play the VS version with the soundtrack and extra levels, though. Battletoads, I think this is a spare spot. Like, I probably would have put this higher. But I do think this is probably one of the most overrated games in the history of NES. Just in the sense that you have a really cool mascot and you're going to sell copies, right? You have a really cool mascot and you're going to instantly sell copies. This game didn't really know what it wanted to be. Did it want to be a beat-em-up, a platformer, an action game? There was such a hybrid of elements, but none of them really stood out. And so I put this in the overrated pile. But Battletoads is just fine. It's not bad, it's not good. It's just fine. Anyway. Load Runner. Nah, forget about it. Again, this is another one of those platforming games where you don't have a jump button. Yeah, screw that. No jump button, not interested. And you're going to get the same critique if Bionic Commando's on this list. Darkwing Duck. You know what? That's a fair placement. I find this game notoriously hard, but it is very good. Actually, you know what? I'd probably do a lot better at this game if I had some patience. Because a lot of enemies in this game are all about waiting it out. But good challenging bosses and everything. Darkwing Duck. Look, it's a good game if you have patience. Super Mario Bros. 2. This is pretty far down, man. I mean, I'm not a Mario 2 fanboy just because it's a Mario game. And I don't even like Mario 2 that much, but I do still think it's a bit low. Circus Charlie, hey? I mean, this was a pretty fun arcade game back in the day, and lots of cool events you could do. kind of less is more, just sort of like an addictive gameplay loop. Circus Charlie is fun. Speaking of addicting gameplay loops, I mean, Popeye's only got 3 screens, right? And they loop and get progressively harder. But they're a good time. I like Popeye. Popeye doesn't always like me. Save olive oil eventually. Lil Samson. I do think this placement for Lil Samson is a little bit harsh. Lil Samson is a phenomenal game. Kind of similar to Mega Man, but you're using 4 different creatures, I guess you could say. You got Little Samson, then you got the dragon, then you got the rock monster, and then you got the mouse. And you are really encouraged to use them in specific moments in the game and for specific bosses as well. Makes the game incredibly immersive. The bosses are great. The level design is spot on. People missed the boat on this one, obviously, because the Super Nintendo had already hit the market. But Little Samson is a must-play. I think this position's a little bit harsh. I didn't put this on my top 50, to be fair, but I actually made that 8 years ago before I really knew about this game. This is instantly on my top 50 every time. RC Pro-Am. You know, I think this is probably a reasonably fair placing. This is before DLC, so that bloody yellow truck would always rubber band and unfairly beat you. You get past that, it's a functional isometric racer, really fun, addictive. Adventure Island 3, I think this is fair. I prefer the second one. Adventure Island 3 is very, very unfair and tough in parts, but it has the same action that you'd love from Adventure Island 2. I just think the second one is better. Mega Man 5 in this position is probably fair. The first 3 Mega Man games are a lot better, and there's certainly nothing wrong with Mega Man 5, it's just you can get too much of a good thing. Star Tropics 2, yeah. It does look a little bit different to the first one, doesn't it? I've played Star Tropics 1, and it's kind of a unique overworld adventure game, and in first glance it kind of looks a lot like Legend of Zelda, but it plays a lot different. But just like Legend of Zelda, there's a lot of discovery, a lot of bosses and labyrinths and things like that. Star Tropics 1 is a game I would love to learn and play. Never really tried out number 2. I do like the big player sprite here. He looks like a cool dude. Looks like he's trying to be some Captain N-some-bish here. Now, Adventures of Lolo 3. See, if I was good at puzzle games, action puzzle games, I'd be playing this a lot more. But if you want brain teasers on NES, man, so many levels. Adventures of Lolo is the standard. I'm glad at least one of these games is on the list. It deserves to be. Isolated Warrior. So this is like a isometric shooter action game. This looks really unique. I do not know about this one at all. The graphics might be a little bit off-putting for me, but the game certainly looks interesting. I do think it's a bit high up. Blades of Steel almost cracking the top 50. You know, I can live with that. I mean, I do like Blades of Steel. I got it for my 12th birthday. There's just not a lot of game modes or a lot of longevity, but if you want a time-killer game of hockey with fights, it's a good time. Donkey Kong 3, I did recently start getting into playing this game recently, and it's a fun little time killer for 5 and 10 minutes. Very different to other Donkey Kong games. All you got to do is shoot him up the vine, basically, with this little dude, and I don't know who the little dude is. He's not Mario or Jumpman anymore. It's fine. It's serviceable. It's okay. It doesn't deserve this high spotlight. You're going to put this higher than games like Felix the Cat and stuff? I mean, Darkwing Duck? I don't think so. Now we got Tetris. I wonder if, like, the Tengen version of Tetris is going to be on this as well. I prefer this one, to be honest, because of the style of the blocks and the colours. But Tetris is Tetris, right? Took the world by storm. Quintessential version is the Game Boy version. Jackal. Oh, I was going to say, this is not in the top 50, but we're getting to the exceptional realm of NES games, and there's only so much room. I can live with Jackal almost being the top 50. This is a wonderful military shooter, almost a standard, actually. You're in a little buggy, you've got grenades, rockets, a machine gun fire, there's interesting military-style bosses. You have to use some strategy in getting through certain areas of this game because you do get overwhelmed quite easily. The final boss in this is very time-consuming and epic. It requires a lot of patience. It is a great game. Great game. Love Jackal. Play it today. Adventure Island. I think this is probably in there for the nostalgia and the Wonder Boy factor. This is Wonder Boy basically repackaged. Without a cheat code, there's no continues, which is really annoying. I find Adventure Island 1 to be annoying. I'm not as fan of it like some other people. I didn't realize Gargoyle's Quest was on... this is like Demon's Quest on Super Nintendo. Looks just like Demon's Quest. Looks like a cool game. Nice colors, big sprites. Haven't played it, can't really judge. Little Nemo the Dream Master. A lot of people request this of me. And I just can't figure out where to go. Like, those games where you have to constantly spend a certain amount of time finding hidden items, even if you are using cool creatures and shit, I just find this game incredibly boring. Maybe it's just the fact that I didn't grow up with it. I think maybe if I played this as a 9-year-old, I would have developed the patience and the love for this game. But everyone hates me on One Coin Only. Okay, that's a slight exaggeration, but I just don't like this game. And I think I really disappoint them. That's what I probably should have said. I'm using very strong language here. But yeah, Little Nemo the Dream Master, as I said, it looks nice. It's a Capcom game after all, but it doesn't do anything for me. Riker. Now this is a cool adventure game that's on my to-do list to learn. Very, very difficult figuring out where you have to go, but you've got these side-scrolling elements. You've also got like these overworld elements too. So again, this is another hybrid style of game where you've got the side-scrolling and the overworld. And you have to collect different items to unlock new areas. Kind of similar, I guess. Not like Blaster Master, but Blaster Master I think also had that principle, if I'm not mistaken. Rygar's a good game if you can get past its quirks. I think that's a fair spot. Dig Dug. I mean, when it comes to arcade ports, Dig Dug's one of my favorites. I like how this is in a 4x3, where I think the arcade version was in a portrait. I prefer the 4x3, and that's a wonderful port of an arcade game. Ice Climber. Oh, dude. I love the idea of Ice Climber traversing upwards in multiple challenging levels. But this guy's all hang time and no horizontal, like, I guess, jumping, if that makes sense. God, I didn't really explain that well. But he jumps upwards, and it's so frustrating. He goes up, but he doesn't go across, if that makes sense. And it makes the platforming in this incredibly frustrating for the most part. With that being said, he got a good jump. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm not selling my argument here, but something just felt off with the platforming in Ice Climber. Don't think it should be that high up. Mario Brothers, oh gosh. You know, this is a wonderful port of an arcade game. I love the original Mario Brothers, man. I don't know if it should be that high up. Definitely in the top 100. Cobra Triangle. Okay, now we're getting to some polarizing picks. I myself love Cobra Triangle. You play a speedboat, go into different levels with different things. You know, you have some boss levels, some survival levels, some race levels. It's great, challenging bosses. I think it's a wonderful experience. This was always found in the bargain bin and is to this day. It's a very common NES game. Some people don't like it. I grew up playing this before I even owned an NES at my auntie's house. I love Cobra Triangle. Blaster Master. Oh, I think they may have gotten this position wrong. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are upset that Blaster Master is this low down. But look, like I said earlier in the video, it's a wonderful Metroidvania style game. Life Force. Probably a good pick. If you like horizontal shooters, Gradius or Life Force is probably where it's at on the NES. Life Force is a good one. Dragon Warrior. See, I never got into the Dragon Warrior franchise too much until the modern game. But I'll let you guys be the judge. Do you think Dragon Warrior 4 should be this high up? Mr. Gimmick. I was wondering, actually, before I even started this video, if Mr. Gimmick was going to be on the list. It's certainly a unique platforming action game. You play this little green blob guy. I've tried it a couple of times. I'm not massively experienced with it, but what I did try this game, I found really, really fun and unique. Sometimes just a fresh spin on the platforming genre is all you need. This certainly delivers on that. Would I have it this high up? Probably not. But I think a top 100 entry would totally be acceptable. Well, we got Spartan X2, also known as Kung Fu 2. You know, it's not a long game. I really like this game. I think you're kind of pushing it, putting both Kung Fu games in the top Are you rating this above the original Kung Fu? Actually, I don't know if I agree with that. With that being said, though, it's a serviceable action, I guess you could say, side-scrolling game. It's not really a platformer. It's sort of like a semi-beat-em-up. Lots of cool-looking levels. You like a secret agent in this one. Different challenging bosses. There's 2 difficulties as well, so you can play casually or you can play on hard mode. Spartan X2 is a good game. Considering we're including Famicom games, I don't know if I put it this high up. But it is fun. Super Bowl, Tecmo Bowl, Tecmo Super Bowl. One of these games has to be in the top 50, doesn't it? I guess it makes sense that it's this one. I love the cinematic elements in this. I would like to get better at that game one day. It's a great game of football. Journey to Silius, this is an appropriate entry for this. One of the best yet hardest action platformers you're ever going to play. Supposed to originally be a Terminator game. There is a Terminator reskin if you're into your ROM hacks. Section Z. Oh, you know what? From a nostalgia standpoint, I love that this is in the top 50, but logically I think it should maybe be a little bit lower. But I'm glad this got included on the list. I used to play this in the mornings on the weekends when my mum had to do some shift work. This was keeping me out of trouble. It's like an auto-scrolling game, but you also dictate which level you go where, because this game has got so many different branching paths. And so there's multiple enemies, bosses, and challenges. Memory is a must in this, because if you don't know where to go and you don't, by process of elimination, eliminate certain paths out, you'll be looping in this game forever. It's a wonderful challenge. I would like to dive bomb into this more often in one coin only. I still somewhat remember how to play it. Snake, rattle, and roll. Nah, when it comes to isometric action games like this in Qbert, the depth perception of the isometric puzzle games, it just completely confuses me. I've tried this a couple times, frustrates the hell out of me. I'm sure there's a really cool game of snake, rattle, and roll. You got to eat these pellets and grow your snake and then go on the bell and escape the level. But I just can't do it, man. It doesn't do anything for me. Even when I was a kid, I used to always leave this on the rental shelf. So, if I played this more often, I'd probably... Yeah, look, fuck you little snake. Snow Brothers. I love Snow Brothers, but I'm not going to give a big score to the NES version, because compared to other versions, I do think it's a little bit on the sluggish side. But if you want that Snow Brothers itch, it's fine. DuckTales 2. So DuckTales 2, like DuckTales 1, but it's a little bit more cryptic. It adds a little bit more of a puzzle element on this. I would love to learn how to play DuckTales 2 one day, but number 1's a big favourite of mine. Now we got Gradius. I'm kind of happy that this is ahead of Life Force, but that's just based on my biased nostalgia. I do think this is a little bit easier to play than Life Force. Slowly over time, I've been getting better at this. I do love Gradius. It's a great horizontal shooter. Battle City. My friend Chris Lindley made me play this on an episode of Whatever Wednesday. It's not a bad tank shooter. There are other ones that came before this in the early 80s. It's not a bad tank shooter. I don't think I'd ever have it that high up, but the gameplay is addictive, I'll admit. Mega Man 3, honestly, this seems a little low. I think Mega Man 2 and 3 are definitely top 20 games, and one of them at least in the top 10. Wonderful Mega Man experience. Music is underrated. I just streamed this today, actually. The music's just as good as Mega Man 2. I'm not going to say better, but just as good. Banging title screen. Wonderful bosses. A lot more challenge. You don't even just do Wily's Castle. You have to do the 4-quarter henchman beforehand as well. Throwback to Mega Man 2 bosses. It's such a challenging game. I grew up playing this as a young adult teen, and a wonderful experience. If you're after a daring and difficult platformer, that's up there. River City Ransom, this is probably about right. It's a wonderful RPG beat-em-up where you have to beat enemies, collect money, and use the money in the towns that you approach in order to upgrade your skills. My only criticism of River City Ransom would be it is a bit of a grind to get everything that you need and really annoying. If you use the code and you're leveled up and you're just coasting through this game, you could do it in about 20 minutes. So it just seems like hours of grind for a 20-minute game seems really unreasonable, if that makes sense. With that being said, the gameplay loop is fun. The bosses are really fun. My advice is play it with the cheat code. Bionic Commando, no way, get F off. any platformer where you don't use your legs and jump, take a grappling hook and shove it up your pie hole, mate. I don't like it. I don't like it. I sound like Pauline Hanson if you're from Australia. I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah, no. Alright, what do we got? And we got Star Tropics. Like I said, I would like to dive into this more. I did play this for an old regular many years ago, and we got about halfway through before I got stuck. But I would love to give this a, you know, if you want an overworld adventure game, that's where it's at. Great dungeons, bosses. Final Fantasy, this low down. This was a very special RPG game where it all began. Probably a fair spot. I mean, I could still play this if there was nothing else in the world to play, but probably hasn't aged as well as what it used to. Battletoads versus Double Dragon. This is an interesting pick. And if I had to pick any version of Battletoads versus Double Dragon to play, it would be the NES version. It's the most functional. I do feel like the 16-bit versions of this, while they look better, are a little bit clunky. Look, you know, it's not without its charm. It's very, very, very difficult. But if you can master the gameplay loops and again hybrid elements, you've got bikes, beat 'em ups style gameplay, just like the original Battletoads. It's worth a look. You know what? I'm going to put Double Dragon 2 The Revenge higher than this. But it's one of my favorite beat 'em ups of all time. I love Double Dragon 2 The Revenge. Again, I streamed this today. There was no kid on the block that didn't have Double Dragon 2 The Revenge, it seemed, growing up. Mighty Final Fight. See, I don't know if this came out in Australia. And I remember I read Nintendo Australia magazine as a kid. And this game was advertised. And I was excited. And I was waiting like an old dog for his owner. Like, you know, in Futurama. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. And it never came. And I mean, maybe I just never saw it, but I'm glad now, thanks to modern technology, I can play this game on emulation. Screw Guy, though. Pick Cody or Hagar. Turtles 2, the arcade game. Yeah, this is probably a fair entry point at this part. I'm starting to get worried that Kid Icarus is not going to be on this list. I loved Kid Icarus. That's got nothing to do with Turtles, but it's a great... No, bro. Oh, are you going to do me like this and you're going to put Punch-Out this low on the list? Maybe it's a technicality. Why do I feel like he's going to put Mike Tyson's Punch-Out in the top 10? But Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is one of the greatest games of all time. Like, obviously, I'm not going to put it ahead of, like, Mega Man 2, Zelda, or Mario 3. But this is, like, the best of the rest, man. I love Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Elevator Action. I do like the NES port of this. And I'm happy that it's in the top 150, but this is way too high. But the goal is to, like, start from the top of the building, go in the red doors, collect the secret plans, make it down the bottom, get in the car, and increase the loop, bigger buildings. 1942. You're going to put 1942 ahead of 1943. I think you might have been on the buds by the time you got to this part of the list. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. The Pac-Man port here on NES is actually very nice. Just a little bit high up for my liking, but it is a great arcade port of the game, and I'm not even mad that it's on the list. By putting this high up, nah. Power Blade 2, that's an interesting entry. Power Blade is a wonderful action platformer, but it is a little bit more on the obscure side, so I'm surprised it made it that high up. I don't agree with that pick. Now we got Metal Gear. Oh, I think Metal Gear is definitely a top 100 NES game. I mean, it's where, like, the stealth gameplay all began. I got this from the bargain bin when I was a 12-year-old. I beat it then. I don't think I'd ever be able to beat it now. It's so rewarding when you can survive sneaking around enemies and finally get a gun and shoot fools. And, I mean, this is where Metal Gear all began. And it's a cool experience. It's definitely not for everyone. But Konami was definitely innovating at this point. And I'm thankful we had Metal Gear on the NES. And now we got RC Pro-Am 2. I really need to play the sequel of this, man. I always give number 1 its praise. I'm starting to wonder what's in the top 20. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about this list. Because we've had a lot of really good games that have been low down. Now we got Dragon Warrior. Look, I guess if you're into RPGs as an acceptable entry. yeah, to this day, Dragon Ball game's all about grinding slimes, isn't it? I mean, even in Dragon Ball 11, I was grinding slimes for hours. Dr. Mario, look, you know what? I could say logically and objectively, this is a wonderful puzzle game. I'm just not one that's ever been good at it. This, I mean, even girls who never play games put this on and can beat me, you know? Castlevania. I mean, yeah, Castlevania deserves to be in the top 50. What a great adventure, you know, gothic adventure game. Wonderful bosses, challenging levels and gameplay. A new game when you finish the game as well. Donkey Kong. I mean, yeah, I mean, I love Donkey Kong, but I mean, I don't know if I'd have it this high up. You know, this and Pac-Man. It's all well and good. Like I said, the NES had wonderful arcade ports, man. But that wasn't what was to showcase the system. You know, it was these, like, action platformer games like Mario and Mega Man and things like that that were to show what the system could do. And so to see the games like this high up, I don't really agree with it, to be honest. Like, I acknowledge their, like, epicness in history, but it's just that they shouldn't be that high up. Metroid, look, you know what? I can live with Metroid being 17. This would probably almost crack my top 10 list. But Metroidvania, baby, you know, when I was 8 years old, I just remember before I even owned an NES, playing this with a family, staying up nice and late on my school holidays to God knows what hour in the morning. And just the discovery and wonder. I was just happy just to discover new things and a new secret and a new area where there's an item, you know. And, you know, I first played this when I was 8. I didn't beat it till I was 12. But I still kept coming back to it. And you know, when I stream this now, it only takes me an hour flat to beat it. Oh gosh, what we put up with when we were kids. We got Ninja Gaiden here. I mean, if you're going to put any in the top 20, it'd be 1 or 2, right? And number 1 is a wonderful game. Wonderful bosses, wonderful challenge. Wish I was better at it. We got Super C here. I mean, if you're into Contra, I don't think there'd probably be too many arguments this being this high up. Contra and Super C were both very special games. A lot of hybrid elements that put Super C apart. And then Castlevania 3. This is going to be one of the best games you play on NES as well as one of the hardest. So the amount of enjoyment you get from Castlevania 3 is going to depend on your patience threshold and also how good you are at games. I'm enjoying this game a lot more now because I've gotten used to its difficulty. But to be honest, I do prefer Castlevania 1 myself. But this is an advancement in every way, you know, with the graphics, the multitude of bosses, branching paths. You can use different characters too, like Grant and Cypher. I usually just use Trevor personally myself. But it's a big improvement on Castlevania 1. And obviously Castlevania 2 did its own thing and experimented. Yes. Okay, what do we got for number 13? Batman the video game. Maybe a little bit high up. But people love Batman. You know, the funny thing about Batman is Batman never really felt like a Batman game, did it? It kind of just felt like they just put a Batman skin on another platform again. Because, you know, Kabuki Quantum Fighter kind of reminds me of this game a little bit. But it was a rental as a kid. Lots of challenge. I've never been able to beat this. The best I ever got was about halfway. Fun if you can put up with its difficulty. Adventure of Link, I think this is fair enough. Some people don't like Zelda 2 because they wanted more of Zelda 1, if that makes sense. But if you could look at things fairly and get past the difficulty, it's a wonderful adventure. I consider Zelda 2 a must-play. We got Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project. I think this is a fair pick because I think this is better than Turtles 2, the arcade game, personally. Only complaint I would have it is in its difficulty, but there's a cheat list for it. And then you can do a level select and whatever. Now we got Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword. I think it's fair that this cracks the top 10. Like, I prefer the first one. But, honestly, Ninja Gaiden 2 improves on it in every other way. Slightly crisper graphics, maybe a little bit less flicker. Still the unfair gameplay elements, though. But I love how in some levels you got, like, wind that you had to traverse. And then, like, levels that black out and... It's just such a big design improvement, I think, over Ninja Gaiden 1. And Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Wow. They just cracked the top 10, hey? To be fair, this is a phenomenal Disney game. On NES, it's either this or DuckTales for me, I think. So fair enough. And Mega Man 2. Oh, yeah. Mega Man 2 is a very, very special game, isn't it? Music, gameplay. I mean, it's hard to admit that, it's hard to believe that Mega Man 1 and its poor presentation and box art. I mean, I loved Mega Man 1 because that's where I started, but you almost didn't get a Mega Man 2, and then look at how many Mega Man games we now got because of this game's success. Wonderful bosses, music, stage design, 2 difficulty modes. It's a must-play for everyone. Just like Super Mario Brothers. If you haven't played the original Super Mario Brothers, do you even NES, bro? I still love this game to this day, and I mean, look, I know it's basic bish, but I still love to run through this. I take great joy from Super Mario Brothers. And then Duck Hunt. I mean, I can't be mad that Duck Hunt is this high, but I mean, as I said, there's just so many other games that showcase what the NES could do. But, you know, most people woke up on Christmas with the action set. I didn't. I just got 2 controllers and Mario Brothers. But most people woke up with the action set and they got that hybrid cartridge that had Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. And so many people grew up playing this on Christmas morning with the Zapper, and nostalgia's a hell of a drug. I can understand people's love for this game. I just think it's a little high. Definitely top 50 though. Now number 5, Kid Icarus. Fucking. Oh, the biased part of me is like, oh hell yeah. You play Icarus, the guy whose wings don't work, kind of like that classic Greek mythology story. And you have to save the princess, I've forgotten her name, Princess Fuckface we'll call her, from the evil Medusa. There's so many hybrid elements of gameplay, like vertical levels, side-scrolling levels, dungeons, bosses, shops, grinding. It's a wonderful, albeit imperfect experience, very, very tough. It's a weird game that gets easier as you go on, as you get currency, items, and level up and build your health bar and your weapons. You can level up your weapons as well. So it's one of those weird games that gets easier towards the end game. Oh, what, dude, I can't put this in the top 10 even if I love it so much. That's certainly a top 50 game. But I love Kid Icarus. What do we got now? Contra. Well, if you're not going to put Mega Man 2 in number 4, then I think you'll put Contra there, wouldn't you? This is a wonderful run and gun shooter. Contra build. Have to foil the alien invasion. Wonderful experience. Legend of Zelda is number 3. I mean, look, it's in the top 3, right? Makes me think that obviously Super Mario Brothers 3 is definitely going to be number 2 or 1. Makes me think, what are they going to put as number 2? But yeah, I mean, the overworld experience, published in 1986, still fun to play today. Lots of discovery and wonder in this game. Dungeons, bosses. Gotta save Princess Zelda from the evil Ganon. It's a wonderful experience. I still can't believe how low, I think this is a typo, but they're actually trying to put Kirby as number 2. Nah, man, I'm sorry. Kirby is a very, very special game. I could live with it being in the top 20. But there's just so many games that weren't higher on the list. Like, Punch-Out being so low. I mean, look, you know, maybe I'm biased on Punch-Out, but other games... I'm not feeling Kirby at number 2, honestly. I definitely think it's a top 50 game. This is a polarizing pick for me, but it is a wonderful... Look, the fact that you can suck enemies and mutate into their weapons is a lot of fun. And look, no surprises here. I mean, most people's lists always have Mario 3 as the number 1 pick. This was a very special experience. Introduced the flower so you could fly around like a raccoon. And look, this was a wonderful list from GameBermuda. Thank you so much. Please make sure again you sub to him. These lists take a lot of effort. I do agree with most of it. And again, they're always going to be subjective. It was a well thought out list, even though I didn't agree with everything. Let me know what you think of your picks. Don't forget to give me a sub as well. We'll see you on the next video, guys. Thank you so much for watching.